Hi, I'm Nancy Kaufman, and I wanted to talk to you today about one of the materials that I've produced, and it is the Kaufman Speech-to-Language Protocol workout book, the K-SLP workout book. The reason that this material was produced was to help children who struggle to speak to continue on into being able to combine simple words to formulate language. And in this case, most of the words that are in the workout book follow Kit 1. The Kit 1 has the very earliest and easiest consonant vowel syllable shapes to produce, especially for children who struggle to speak. And once they're at the level of simple bisyllabics, such as happy, tummy, muddy types of words, they might be then ready to do more in combining words to formulate simple, functional, expressive language. Now you might know about the mutt family of dogs. The mutt family are also simple bisyllabic syllable shapes, most of them anyway. And they are words like Mona, Toby, Patty, Heidi, Moppy, Dottie, and so forth. And the reason that I chose these types of names was because they follow simple bisyllabic patterns. And they can then become the subject of moving on into 2- and 3-word combinations. And eventually even into further grammatical skills such as present progressives. So this is the mutt family of dogs, and a lot of the children are familiar with them from Kit 1, and they love them. And they can also practice their names for 2-syllable or bisyllabic word practice. But there's lots of explanations in the book about the K-SLP methods, and lots of practice for vowels, which are not really focused upon in Kit 1. Also some practice on simple consonant-vowel combinations and consonant-vowel-consonant combinations. But beyond those single words for practice, more of what's important about the workout book is the ability to combine words. But here are some simple consonant cues that I like to use. There's also vowel cues as well. So we want to get into putting words together to formulate thoughts. And we're going to want to do that through some pivot phrases. So pivot phrases are words that stay constant, and then we only have to change up one word in the phrase. So I wanted to have my page ready. This is a pivot word, open, and that's because the word open stays constant. And then we can work on open mouth or open door. How about open bag or open box? And they're going to be increasing their vocabulary as well as being familiar and with a word that's been easy to say that because the open word has been practiced. What about even moving into naming function? Once the children can produce simple nouns, then we want to ask them, what do you do with that particular noun? So here's Mona, and she's a teacher, and she's going to ask our children, what do you do with an apple? And we're going to help the children say, I eat apple. We're not looking for articles at this point in time, as that would then complicate the motor planning system. We want to keep things very simple, telegraphic, and exclude articles and auxiliary verbs at this point in time until the children are ready to then push them in. What do you do with a puppy? I pet puppy. What do you do with a book? I read book. And that R may be difficult for the child to produce, and we might have to change it to a W, which is a natural phonological process for children who struggle to speak. To do is to simplify R's to W's. I read book until we gain accuracy for that R phoneme. So then we can also go into some I want phrasing, and I want would be your pivot phrase. We're going to tell the children what the mutt family are wanting. For example, Bobby wants a cookie. What should Bobby say? And then we're going to help them to say, I want cookie. They might not have the K in their repertoire, in which case we're going to have to change it to a T, which is fronting, but it is a natural phonological process as to how children simplify difficult phonemes or syllables when they're just learning to speak. So we might have to say I eat tootsie, but we're going to model correctly. I eat cookie, right. And we can model correctly again. Yes, Buddy wants a cookie. We're going to say, oh, look at Dottie wants her juice. What should Dottie say? Dottie, or she should say, I want juice. Then what about going into I want to phrases for the verbs? So we're going to talk to the children and say, look, Bobby wants to climb. What should he say? I want to climb. And I want to becomes constant and a pivot phrase. I want to swing. I want to open. I want to sleep. And some of these words need to be simplified. If they're not within the child's repertoire of consonants, they may struggle with the blends in climb or in swim or in sleep. And so there are some suggested approximations across the bottom of the page as to how we might want to simplify some of the verbs. And then we might want to focus on some final consonants because they're usually left out by children who struggle to speak or have childhood apraxia of speech. And we're going to only focus on D-voice consonants P, T, and K in this particular workout. And we can talk to the children about, oh, what should Bobby and Betty put away? Because they made a big mess in the basement. Oh, they should put away the pop. And we're going to talk to them about put away pop. You might not say pop, you might say soda or some other type of word to talk about a soft drink. Help, they need to put away the hat. Tell them what to do. Put away hat. And then there's some final Ks. Put away tank or put away boot, etc. But those simple bisyllabics, once again, are very important to work on. And now we have the mutt names, but they're only going to be paired with a vowel consonant extra word. So it's Poppy out, or Betty in, or how about Dottie up? And then here's a simple bisyllabic pivot word, happy. So happy stays constant, but then it gives the children an opportunity to work on simple bisyllabic to simple bisyllabic. Happy Mona, happy Heidi, happy Toby. And then we can also get into pivot syllables naughty, and not just naughty Patty, but what is Patty doing that's naughty? We can go into a three-word utterance such as Paddy blow horn. And then muddy as also a pivot. And other than the mutt family names like Muddy Dottie or Muddy Patty, how about Muddy Hippo, Muddy Panda, Muddy Pony? And then we can get into subject-verb-object. Still telegraphic language to describe action, again with the simple bisyllabic words of the mutt family. So here's Poppy, and he's eating a potato, but it might have to be Poppy eat tato until we can get that syllable shape. How about Mona knit hat, or Nani eat banana? Or we could simplify it to Nana until the child is able to produce three-syllable words. There's lots of practice on those. And we can also get into subject-verb-object to get into some sequence story narratives. The one that I love are the Mutt family dogs that are taking out their toys from the toy box. And what's in the toy box are simple nouns of which the children have probably already practiced to produce. And then the take out would be the pivot phrase. So Patty, take out mitt. Or we don't have to practice Patty and just say take out mitt, take out baby, take out teddy, take out horn. Then all of the mutt children are playing with their toys and we get into a subject-verb-object naming action. Buddy blow horn, Bobby play ball, Dottie ride pony, Betty hug baby doll. And here's Heidi having a tea party with Teddy and Bunny. But then they need to put their toys away, and we have yet another pivot phrase to practice, put away. So there's so much practice to be had in just some of these simple sequence story narratives. Some of the rest of the book goes on into present progressives, and we can see that the verbs are very simple and following Kit 1, such as tapping, hiding, biting, rather than climbing, swimming, sleeping, which would be much more difficult verbs to practice. And we can always go further into working on pronouns. He is he is biting, or he is biting his cookie. How about third person singular verbs? He bites his cookie. And we can even go into past tense verbs, but adding that auxiliary verb of was. He was biting, rather than going into irregular past tense verbs. So there's also short stories. And this helps us to be able to help children to answer some simple WH questions as well. We're going to work on the same pattern repetitively. This is Heidi. Heidi wants to hop. Heidi is hopping, and Heidi was hopping. And then we can ask, who is this? This is Heidi. What does Heidi want to do? Heidi wants to hop. What is Heidi doing? Heidi is hopping. And what was Heidi doing? Heidi was hopping. It really helps the children not only to put together 3-word utterances, but also to follow and answer simple who, what questions. You can get into prepositional phrases too. Where is Heidi hopping? On the board. So there are also lots of descriptions about how to use each of the workouts, and also a dictionary of words that children would most likely want to be able to try to say. So here's our simplified functional vocabulary dictionary. There's also an explanation about how to script functional language, and that means that once we know what a child is trying to convey, they might be pointing or grunting or just using a single word approximation. But once we know what they would like to say, it tells us how to help them to say it with their best approximations, getting into 2- and 3-word utterances. The workout book is reproducible, and it is meant to be something that would be fun for parents and caregivers to do with their children to practice in the natural environment. So I hope that you enjoy these materials, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.